And I am, okay, now I'm live. And I would like someone out there virtually to let me know that I am live. I believe I am public. I hope I hadn't changed that one, but okay. All right, so we are gathering together from all points around the world, here now. Oh, and look at you, Debbie Joy. All right, so morning to you too. She wrote it on 2 lines, morning. Right when you're posting, sometimes it gets away from you, right? So anyway, welcome. You have won the special spiritual mind treatment. So let me know for what you would like me to do that treatment, and you are set. All right, so I take that as a go. So let's begin. This word is being spoken for each one. And if there is anyone you would like to have included, you can think of their name now. Or if there's any part of the world or situation in the world that you would like included. I don't care what it is, anything. Just think of that situation now and know that that also is included, because there is only one mind, one universe, one life, expressing an infinite variety. But nothing that is expressed, nothing that is created is separated from the one. It is all still the one. This universe is the universe, and everything in it is part of the universe. And because one is one, there is no separate action, and there is no such thing as an insignificant action. All is one. And all matters. Each one matters. And each one that matters to the all, everything about each one matters. There is no such thing as any teeny tiny problem, situation, or spot that is not important. Everything is important. That divine mind, its infinite intelligence, is fully attentive to every single detail. And so there is nothing that is random. There is nothing that is a throwaway. Everything is important. And everything that is created in harmonious and healthy relationship with everything else. And so that is true of each one too, that everything in each one's world matters. And each one is in relationship with everything. And so this awareness of the all, and the value and the importance and the position that each one holds in this all, is fully accepted by each one, and in that acceptance, each one is seeing the value of everything in his or her world. Everything is there to be in harmonious relationship with the all. And that is true from the divine macrocosm to the infinitesimal, immeasurable microcosm, as well as everywhere in between. So any belief that one does not matter, that a thought does not matter, that a particular thing in one's world does not matter, all belief in insignificance, powerlessness, being a victim doesn't matter, all belief in waste, it's all by this word erased, evaporated, and vanished, because all is a creation of the divine, all has a purpose, the purpose being to express the divine in a unique way. And therefore all has potential to express more of that uniqueness of the divine. And so that is true of each one. And so as each one acknowledges all that is present in their world, each one is seeing infinite things in this world, which is evidence of the infinite possibility, because the relationship that each one has with each thing can be expressed in infinite ways, in infinite variety. And so there are those ways of expressing and relating that are more harmonious, that are more acknowledging of one's self-acceptance, and there are things that are less of that harmonizing relationship. And so each one in this awareness is now realizing that each one has been created to express in a unique and distinctive way, and that everything that is a part of supporting that unique expression is available to him or her, and that whatever is a part of that harmonious expression of oneself that must be chosen by each one is now aware of, and more aware of the choice, and with spiritual discernment, aware of what brings out the best of oneself, one's expression, and what retards, restricts, or lessens it. So each one is aware of what works in one's world that supports one in being more of who and what he or she is. And each one is more aware of that which does not, or has been outgrown, or is no longer inspiring or motivating. And so each one is, with divine wisdom and that spiritual discernment, and with a greater self-love and appreciation and acceptance, and with a greater valuing of the gift that he or she has to give, each one is now wisely, consciously selecting those thoughts, ideas, relationships, and ways and means of operating that create an easier life, that easier life being easier to be one's unique self. Each one is consciously accepting, approving, and participating in creating an environment that harmonizes with that unique self that he or she is. And of course, that unique self that each one is in harmony with this great and glorious universal life. And so all human belief that one must struggle, all belief that one has to have problems in order to learn or to grow, all belief in trouble, all belief in variability in living, that there's ups and that there's downs, all belief in loss, all belief that the changes of life could result in anything happening, all belief in randomness, all belief in powerlessness. It's all by this word erased, evaporated, and vanished. Each one is a divine seed in the mind of God, planted in the soil of this universe. And there are definitely conditions that support each one in harmoniously expressing that unique self that he or she has been created to be. And each one is now aware of this, accepting of that uniqueness that he or she is, and is using the intelligence of the universe, as well as its wisdom, its guidance, and its support, to choose that which works best for him or her. And no matter what one is like, there is a way for the universe to support them in being more of themselves. And so even if that way of support has never been seen created before, it is possible, and it is created just for them. Each one accepts this blessing, accepts the importance of their expression is to the divine, accepts that the divine will move heaven and earth to create something that supports him or her in their unique expression, that it is possible and it is probable, but it's also important and necessary for the highest and greatest good of all to be. Each one is valuing the truth, the essence, that divine self that each one is, and is now cooperating and actively participating and making the most of what he or she has been created to be, and using this world around them to be the experiment, to be the playground, to be that in which one can practice being more of what he or she truly is. And so this life is a joy. This life is fun. This life is fascinating. This world is just filled with possibilities. And each one is seeing it, seeing their place in it, realizing their importance in it, and accepting it, and fully and completely actively participating in it. And so all systems are go. All of life is for each one expressing their uniqueness at the highest level each and every moment. And there is no one and no thing against it. So that's the truth. I'm glad it's the truth. So I release the truth. I have spoken to that law that makes it physical, tangible reality in each one's experience. It is done, and so it is. That's the way it is. So David, good morning. Tina and Robert. Okay, we're ready to go. Reverend Rich will take us away.
I am opening, my heart is ready to receive. I am opening, my heart is ready to receive. I am opening, my heart is ready to receive.
And so we take this moment consciously to turn within and check ourselves out. And connect with our heart, and being honest with ourselves, to ask ourselves, what does my heart really want? And we know that there is a truth, when known, will fulfill that heart's desire. So we open to receive it. And whatever fulfillment we desire, we realize it is possible through this meeting, through this truth, through what is spoken here and now. It is done. We accept it and agree with it, and so it is.
I am opening, my heart is ready to receive. I am opening, my heart is ready to receive.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Princeton. I'm Jon Heron. I'm a licensed practitioner here, and we are a loving, healing, and inclusive community which teaches and practices the principles of the science of mind for the well-being and spiritual growth of ourselves and the world. So, here's a question. Are you ready for the blessing?
Yes.
If, as we teach, the universe is all good, always present, everywhere, are you ready to be there with it and to receive it, right? It's here all the time, but why do we on Sunday morning come and listen to Reverend Karen if we're not ready to hear it? So now's the time to open up, because it's your choice, it's our choice, each one of us, to do that. So this morning I happened to be, surfing the internet, and I came across this story, which I thought was really funny. So there was a place where there was a prophet, and she lived in northern New York State about the year 1820. And she announced to her followers that she had the power to walk on water. And she was going to do it at 11 o'clock on a certain morning. And so thousands of people came to the lake, and they surrounded her, and she stood on the edge of the lake, and she came out, and she was wearing this gorgeous dress, and her hair had flowers in it and all this kind of stuff. And she stood on the edge of the water, and she spoke to all of them, and she said, do you really believe that I can do this? And they said, yes, we believe that you can do it. And she said, do you really believe that I can do it? And they said, yes, we believe it. And she stopped for a minute, closed her eyes, and she said, well, then I don't need to do it, because you know that I can. And she left. And they all went home feeling really satisfied. Yeah, so, and I was thinking, that's a really funny story. And there are a lot of ways of thinking about that story, but I was thinking in terms of what Reverend Karen, the message that she gave last week, that what shows up in our lives is an indicator of the beliefs and thoughts that we carry with ourselves, right? And we can use it in that way to grow in our lives. And so that's certainly a basic message of our teaching. And so the question is, what's showing up in your life? And I'm looking forward to hearing Reverend Karen's next talk on health, right? She's been giving a series of talks on health, on how we can think about our health in new ways that really support us. And the same thing, Reverend Rich will be singing his songs, and one of the reasons to come down to the Masonic Center on Sunday mornings is to sort of be part of the process here, because Reverend Rich, he sort of makes a plan from what he said. He sort of makes a plan of the songs he's going to sing, and then he sings totally different songs because it's what shows up, right? So it's wonderful, this flow of what's present here. And then we have our practitioner, Regina, who's going to guide us in a wonderful process. She always brings really practical, wonderful things. And so, anyway, to go back to this story, one of the things that did occur to me was that's what Ernest Holmes, who's our founder, one of the things that I understand by studying The Science of Mind, the textbook that he wrote, is that it's great for us to grow spiritually, but how do we know what's showing up in our lives? How do we know that these feelings and these understandings that we have, because what demonstrates, what shows up in our lives is an indication of what's going on inside. And he teaches that when we treat the spiritual mind treatment, which is the practice that he taught, that we teach here in this center, it's not enough to just do it. But if it doesn't show up in our lives, you can be sure that what's showing up in your life is what you're holding inside. Because that's what we call the law, right? And so we keep on treating until it shows up. It being whatever it is that we're treating for. So, I mean, that's one of the things why this story is so funny to us. It's like, yeah, she doesn't have to actually demonstrate anything. Just, you believe it. Good. It's not enough to have the surface belief that you believe. Because what's showing up in our lives is what we're really holding deep inside. And that's one of the things I got from Reverend Karen's talk last week. So I'm looking forward to this week's talk. And remember, the blessing is there. The all good is already there. We just need to listen for it and be open in our hearts and our minds to receive it. So welcome again to the Center for Spiritual Living, Princeton.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am. When all fear and worry fall away from me, I open my eyes and see. Here we go. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love will set us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when I feel I've lost my way, then I go inside and quiet my mind. I can hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love will set us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love will set us free. There is only love.
Wow.
I know. Don't you love the synergy? Wait till you hear what I talk about. What synergy? What synergy? Good morning. I'm Regina Quince. Hi out there. Are you ready for the blessing? All right. There is only love. Oh boy. So, I'm going to read excerpts from this book, but I'm not going to open them. Don't be intimidated. I'm not opening them. I wrote them all down for you. So, what I would like you to meditate on is the thinker behind the thoughts. The thinker behind the thinking. The one creating and choosing the thoughts. So this meditation is based on a Science of Mind quote I have wrapped around my checkbook that I wrote in 2012, and I have several notes around my checkbook. It's a constant reminder, an acknowledgement of the source of my good. And Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, and her workbook, Love Yourself, Heal Your Life. Okay, so that's the synergy of this whole thing. And I want to say that this Science of Mind textbook I purchased in 1994. I wasn't here at this center in 1994. And that is the trust you can have in the guidance that's within you to get to where you need and want to be. So here we go. I could cry. When you started playing that song, I could have cried. I'm like, oh my God, we are so together. Okay, the seeds of the meditation is Reverend Karen's question during one of our Tessera contact calls. The quote, what self-concept have I outgrown? And the Science of Mind quote I have wrapped around my checkbook. The quote, if one were to make a complete mental picture of himself as he would like to be, filling in all the details of his desire, trying to accept the whole thing as a present reality, he would soon demonstrate that the control of affairs is from within without and not from without. The cause being that whatever exists as a mental picture in mind must tend to and finally does take form if the picture is really believed in and embodied. Take a breath. Be aware of the synergy that we've experienced in the last 30 minutes. Why doesn't the thinker believe the picture and accept it as a present reality? That's my question. In Louise Hay's book, Love Yourself, Heal Your Life workbook, she talks about deservability. Quote, sometimes we refuse to put any effort into creating a good life for ourselves because we believe that we don't deserve it. The belief that we are not deserving may come from our childhood experiences. Deserving has nothing to do with having good. It is our willingness to accept that gets in the way. Allow yourself to accept good, whether you think you deserve it or not. Another question she poses, what do you want that you are not having? In her book, You Can Heal Yourself, she has an I approve of myself exercise. So take a moment, breathe in, and breathe out. For the next month, say over and over to yourself, I approve of myself. When a negative thought comes up, give it no importance. Just see the thought for what it is, another way to keep you stuck in the past. Gently say to this thought, I let you go. I approve of myself. And her PowerPoints are leading with the affirmation, I believe in my own power to change. Number 1, we are each responsible for our experiences. Number 2, every thought we think is our future. Number 3, everyone is dealing with the damaging patterns of resentment, criticism, guilt, and self-hatred. Number 4, these are only thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. Number 5, we need to release the past and forgive everyone. Number 6, self-approval and self-acceptance in the now are the keys to positive change. And finally, number 7, the point of power is always in the present moment. Now, I will say that, and I won't read it, but there is a deservability treatment in her workbook on page 12 for anyone who has it. So when thinking of this and being in the commonality of love and acceptance and readiness and walking on water because you believe you can, I give you this treatment. For there is only one, the creator of all that is. And each one gets to be the thinker of the thoughts that each one chooses, knowing the seed is planted in them, as them, and of them, by this creative being in the unity of its good. For it is beauty and love and harmony and divine order. It is the divine guidance each one is availed to. And so unfolding in each one's life, each one's experience, is each one's choices. And each one, right here and right now in the present moment, chooses good and experiences that good unfolding in every nanosecond of each one's experience. And each one discards any contradiction to this. For each one accepts that they are. Each one is the I am that I am. And with the deepest gratitude, acceptance, belief, and understanding of this word, which is law, each one says with me, and so it is. Thank you.
I sang this song at the first service. We performed for, I forget what we call the Religious Science of Montclair. So it was my first service there. We played this tune. I have listened to the music of the Holy Spirit. Oh, the song God is singing. I will listen all day long. I will listen all day long. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, hallelujah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, hallelujah. Oh yeah, hallelujah. I am lifted in the love of the Holy Spirit. Well, what a joy God is being. Praise the Spirit all day long. Praise the Spirit all day long. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, hallelujah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, hallelujah. Oh yeah, hallelujah. Let's get moving to the rhythm of the Holy Spirit. This dance of life God inspired me dancing, our faith is strong. Dancing, our faith is strong. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, hallelujah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, hallelujah. Oh yeah, hallelujah. of the Holy Spirit. Oh, what a light God is shining. Let us see it everywhere. Yeah, let us see it everywhere. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Hallelujah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Hallelujah. Oh yeah, yeah. Hallelujah. Praise the Spirit. Hallelujah.
Yes.
Golden oldies.
Whew. Okay, so here we are. All right. All right, so David says, I guess if John thinks I can make a good pie crust from scratch, then I don't have to do it. All righty, Rue. All right, so we're talking about health. We're focusing on health as part of our yearly theme, right? Here, now. No delay, no process needed, although we certainly experience that. We don't have to, because right now, right here, it is done unto us as we believe. What we believe right here, right now. And in our first of this 5-part series, I think what I said was that our bodies are created out of the divine substance of the universe and decorated with our thoughts and beliefs. So we all have a divine ideal, perfect pattern, which includes the way it operates, held in the mind of God. We each have this same pattern, the same substance that is emerging in our unique expression of it, just like a snowflake. It's still a snowflake, even though we know each snowflake is unique, right? And it is our beliefs, it's our thoughts that we entertain, that dwell in this body, that affect how it ultimately looks at any particular moment. Right? So I think I said that, right? Like 2 weeks ago. And then last week, what did I say? Absolute, right? Who was going to say it? Gary. Okay. So what I said was, in order to make any real progress in experiencing greater health or anything in our life, we have to build our awareness of the presence of that which is changeless, of the absolute. I don't care what you call it. Call it love, energy, God. Something that is creating us, is supporting us, sustaining us, and maintaining us. And that's something that's doing that is not changing. We call it the absolute. So something that is, I am that I am, which has all these perfect patterns present within it, right? Expresses in the changeable, variable, relative universe, world, tangible that we live in. Right? So something that has this divine template of perfect body in its operation is emerging as Karen. This unique Karen, the true self of Karen, unchanging, I am that I am, but expressing as a personality. And that changes. We have been given the gift. It's a gift of being able to connect, identify with, and dwell in the absolute, that divine I am that I am, and then to relate in this variable, changing world. So our topic today is your health variable? Is your health variable? And let's take a look at that. Now, I don't know if I said this before, but I'm focusing on health, and I'm going in a sequence of understanding that is my personal journey of knowing greater health. So in this teaching, once I got that the absolute is perfect, whole, and complete, and that divine ideal, that divine essence is unchanging, once I got that, I then realized that health is, and that it is unchanging. Even though my body is going to be changing in physical matter and in its operation, that's fine, but the pattern behind it is unchanging. And so health is an ever-present, unchanging part of the pattern from which we are made. And for me, what I did was I started claiming perfect health. And the first way I demonstrated better health was in the area of colds and flus and other seasonal environmental dependent woes that beset the world in waves. So, do you believe in that? Do you believe it's the season? The temperature changed, and so therefore my health is going to vary. Now, I'm sure most of you being here for a while go, oh no, I don't believe that. But then are you walking on water, right? Are you experiencing what you are claiming you believe? And so, obviously, when I first began this journey, I was beset by all the usual woes. But I realized it's not the truth. It's only a belief. I had been entertaining it, and I was just going to stop believing it. And it took me a while. It took me a while to stop believing it to the extent that I demonstrated it. And I did demonstrate it. And still do demonstrate it. Now you may say, oh, that means you never get a cold or a flu anymore. No, I didn't say that. Because colds and flus can serve a purpose in dealing with humanity, right? It keeps everybody away. Yeah. And let's face it, sometimes you want them to stay away. Now, let's be honest. So if I ever have a sniffle or a sneeze or something, a tickle, whatever, I go into my brutal self-honesty mode and I ask, what's going on? And I am very clear. I want a day off. My life is too much to handle. Everything's dumped on me, and poor little me, nobody cares. So a little pity party will always demonstrate as, little weeping coming out as you know what. But anyway, or, do you just need some time out from the speed of the world and all that's demanded on you? So I'm aware that those particular types of conditions can serve it's a good excuse, right? The world accepts it. Don't you? Oh, you're not feeling well. Oh, you got that thing, right? So we forgive each other our errors, and we give each other space. It's a socially acceptable excuse for needing time out. But when I do that, most of the time when I say, okay, and you just need time out, that's what you want. So do you really want to be physically affected and have your time out? Or can you just be honest and say, I want time out and take it in health? And I will admit, sometimes I need an excuse. Hopefully I'll grow out of that. Most of the time, I'm like, nope, I'm taking my time out. It's best for no one to be around me, and take that as a warning. So as I began taking away my contribution to the belief that seasonal disorders, whatever, are natural and normal, I began experiencing those kinds of conditions less and less frequently, of shorter duration if they did show up, and milder until gone. Unless I choose to participate for, now you know why. Okay, so if you see me, you'll go, okay, she wants to be left alone and she won't admit it, so let's just stay away. Okay, all right, I'm being honest. I have all of these different metaphysically diagnostic books that have been written decades ago. All of them, including Louise. It's so interesting, Regina, that you came piled up with Louise Hay books, because before you showed up, we actually were talking about her.
Really?
Yes! Yes, we were. We were talking about she's just love. That's her thing. So, including her. And they all mention that the belief of it's just all too much, just having too much laid on us. It's just, it is a human experience that can create that kind of condition. So, we can go further with this concept because we have all this weather out there. And we notice the weather changing, right, around the world. And so I did some thinking about this while I was sitting there, and I'm like, oh, yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. I go to Emma Curtis Hopkins, who throws in her book here and there these little comments that the weather around us is affected by the consciousness of the people that dwell there. Because what we teach, and I'm going all the way rigorously to the ultimate on what we teach, that it is done unto us as we believe, and that includes everything. And this earth and physical matter is neutral. It's been created with a purpose and with things that it can do, but whether it becomes this or becomes that depends upon the thinking that is around it. I did a little drive through Mercer a couple of weeks ago, right after the tornado went through. And, in my little drive from the boathouse to a little coffee shop where there's cinnamon scones, I didn't realize it, but I drove on the street that had this tornado go through. And, it was amazing because these gigunda trees were ripped up and the houses were fine. It was awesome. Maybe there was a house or two or something that had some tiles or roof, whatever, but what I saw, and I didn't go deep into the news, but what I saw was, I mean, giant trees, as big as all of this. I mean, big, ripped up and thrown down. And the homes weren't hurt. And so why did it take that direction? Well, the consciousness. Now, again, let's not blame or shame anybody or ourselves if something horrible happens. What we have, again, is we've emerged and we are a part of the human race belief. And the human race, God bless us, right? But the human race believes in acts of God, tragedies, troubles, out of nowhere, plagues, right? The human race believes in it. And the human race believes in death. And the human race believes in, or maybe still does, believe in the boogeyman or the willies, and the human race believes in all sorts of things. But being individualized expressions of the divine, we have the gift of choice to agree with what the human race believes, or to choose out of our own uniqueness what we want to believe. And it is done unto us as we believe. So what we want to do is, become more and more aware of just how many things are beliefs. And I take the ultimate stance. Anything that is a thing, anything, any condition, any experience, anything is a belief. Everything and anything is a belief. And beliefs can be changed. And so there are many beliefs I have changed, that you have changed, and we have experienced the result, the benefit of it. And there are other beliefs that we're working on changing. And consciously we're knowing the truth, and we're knowing the truth, and we're knowing the truth, but we're obviously not demonstrating yet, as in walking on water or whatever, or free of a condition. But we don't beat ourselves up, because I said at the very first one of these, you are not allowed to beat yourselves up for whatever is showing up in your world. That's part of the disease thinking. We're not going there, because the answer is love, 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 love. Thank you, Louise. Thank you, Louise. Right? And so, but we can change our beliefs. They can be changed. So just because a particular belief might take a while for you to change it is no reason to give up. Unless you want to. So this belief in variabilityness, this belief that my health, that your health will vary depending upon the world conditions, depending upon the season, depending upon the weather. It is a human race belief, but you do not have to participate in it, because your beliefs create your bodily experience. And you have complete and total authority over what you believe. So for me, when I began this, well, it was back in the 80s, 1980s, that I began claiming my perfect health. That's how long. And I've never stopped. I've never stopped. I am healthy, I am healthy, I am healthy. And so that belief, if I would hear the world talk about, oh, kids are back to school, or it's the winter cold, or it's the spring fever, or it's this whatever, I would say, no, not me. Not me. That's not true for me. I am health, and I choose to believe I am healthy. And with that consistent, regular application of that particular spiritual principle, whenever it arose in my awareness, in my thought, I have steadily, consistently experienced freedom from the world's changing physical ailments. And I have been challenged. You know, when COVID showed up, that was a challenge, because woo, the whole world was all, running around. And we're all locked down, and we're all separated, and I spent one day in my little house, all protected and safe from the world, and I thought, and is this the truth that I want to believe? No. And so is your choice to stay home working for you, Karen? No. Well, then what are you going to do about it? Well, my particular path, and remember, 1980s, so 80s, right, 90s, so 30, 40 years of knowing the truth, I was guided to take a stand, to test my belief, Maybe I don't know myself. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll get it. But I don't want to believe that, so let me test it. So I would do spiritual mind treatment in the truth, the same truth that I discovered way back in the 80s, that I am healthy, and my consciousness of health is what causes my body to experience what it does. In addition, oh my God, now see, this is another thing the human race believes, and it's a tough one. In addition, I don't want to believe that there is anything bad in anyone that could hurt me. Well, now that, that's a biggie, right? Because the human race is just filled with, I hurt you, you hurt me, let me hurt you. We got wars, we got violence, we're afraid of it. It's in the news, it's played up. And it's been around for decades, centuries, right? Since human began, since good old Cain and Abel. That's how deeply rooted that belief is, that others can hurt me, I can hurt them. But I didn't want to choose to stand in that belief. So when I went out into the world, I had a whole lot of spiritual truth that I was standing on in faith and in trust and in prayer. Because, yea, Lord, I believe, but help me my unbelief. I was scared. But being the person that I am, in my uniqueness, you're certainly not going to follow me. When I'm not clear about what the spiritual truth is, I will follow it wherever it guides me to go. Doesn't happen often, thank God. But I did. So I went out and about, and every time I went out, I had to face all those beliefs in me, those fears that were in me. I had to do spiritual work before I went out, sometimes while I was out. This is not a I'm healthy and, la-di-da around the world kind of spiritual work that we have to do. It really requires quite a challenge to our consciousnesses and what we really believe. It requires brutal self-honesty, and it requires, I think, decades of spiritual building up of faith and trust. But we begin with where we are. And from my first experiencing in knowing health back in the 80s, I experienced improvement. And I expect to continue to experience that improvement. Because my health is not variable according to what's going on in the world. That spiritual principle has not changed in all these years that I've been applying this. My consciousness is the cause. Yes, my consciousness can get infected with what the world is believing and thinking, but having become aware that I was going off with them, I can stop it and make a new choice for myself. And so I'm sharing this with you because what is possible for me is possible for you. And it requires your choice to think that and to begin doing that work. Wait a minute, I am healthy. And it requires self-love and care for yourself if you don't walk on water right away, if you do get ill. And I know of so many, this is not a measurement of how highly spiritual you are or not. It's not a measure of whether you're a good spiritual being or not. We inherit the human race's beliefs. There it is. Okay. So with love and with compassion for yourself and for others, we accept where we are at in the here and now, and then we choose how we want to continue. So it's not like I can judge others as being wrong because they got sick or whatever. I don't know other people's spiritual paths. I don't know what is appropriate for them to face and to deal with in their lives. But I do know that whatever any of us is facing is there for us to somehow realize that love is there. Somehow love is there. And so we've all got our different journeys, and I am grateful for the consciousness I have built of this glorious health, and I will share with you, I've got other issues, so it's not like I'm this perfect being, because it's the need to be this perfect human is part of the disease. So the last thing that you can do with your glorious health is make it that important. Like it's a measurement of how your worth your deservability-ness. You can't do that. That's part of the disease. So, but it's ours to claim, simply and naturally. The whole human race believes in that season changing or the weather changing, and I'm not going to believe it. I'm just going to decide to believe my health is my health, and I accept perfect health even in this season. It doesn't change. That's the way it is. And then record your results. Scientific experiment for yourself. Record your results. That's what we do with every spiritual principle, is we give it a go, we practice it, and record our results. And I'm just sharing with you my results. And it's a joy that my experience of the growing health that I am has been fun. Now, there's other areas of my life my growth has not been fun, but this particular growth has been fun. And I eagerly look forward to a greater acceptance of the naturalness of health, and that I don't have to do anything for it. That I am healthy, I am healthy. That's the divine state. And then I have to listen to divine guidance as to how to behave in this world with physical matter. And I don't necessarily like all the guidance that I get. But I have a choice. Obey or discover what not obeying might create in my body. Right? So health is here now. It is not variable. It is not variable because it is formless. And it manifests as this physical form that we have as body. Even as the body is changing. So here in the relative world, its nature is to change, but that which is changeless doesn't change by the changing world. It's still the same. So the same health we were at the healthiest point of our lives, that is the health, a glimmer of the health that is unchanging. And we claim that. It didn't go anywhere. I claim it. The health that I was at 29 or whatever is your healthiest year, actually for me, it's now. Today, I am healthier than I have ever been my entire life. That's, take it or leave it, but, I've had a life. What can I say? So the thing is, as you have too, right? But whatever you think as your prime moment or your healthiest experience of love, your healthiest experience of health, of prosperity, whatever that is, of wisdom, of spiritual connection, whatever that is, it's still there and can be returned to and experienced in a greater and greater way whenever you would like that to happen. But it's got to get claimed, right? So I went way out there in being emphatic about your health, my health, your health. Health is, and you can always experience more of this infinite quality of the divine as you claim what you want to experience for yourself. And bit by bit drop the human race's beliefs, superstitions, and ideas that come from an incomplete understanding of the way things work. Right? Right? I mean, what these days, what does anyone know what causes weight? calories, carbs, milk, this, intolerance of that, da, 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 da. No, nobody knows. But based upon the physical understanding that people have, they've come up with a good theory. Good luck with it. It doesn't work for me. So it probably doesn't work for you, right? Because maybe it's not correct even on the physical level. But we don't have to worry about that because consciousness, what you believe is your consciousness. That creates your outer reality as well as your inner experience, right? Okay? Did that help? Anybody clearer? Anybody wish they never showed up? Yeah, we got some of them. Okay. All right, so let's think about that and move forward. Reverend Rich has to think of what to sing. I think he's got something, so let's listen to him. All right, take us away.
Grateful, 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 yes, I'm grateful, 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 yes, I'm grateful, grateful, grateful. Grateful, yes, I'm grateful. Grateful for the perfect health. Yeah. Grateful for the perfect health. Grateful, yes, I'm grateful. Grateful, because I claim it. Grateful, because I claim it. Grateful, yes, I'm grateful. Grateful because I claim the blessing. Grateful because I claim the blessing. Grateful, yes, I'm grateful. Grateful for the message. Grateful for the message. Grateful, yes, I'm grateful. Grateful for this teaching. Grateful for this teaching. Grateful, yes, I'm grateful.
All right, so let me do a spiritual mind treatment because I think we need a lot of love. So this word is being spoken for each one. This one divine creator is creating because it loves. Its infinite love is beyond human understanding, and it is given freely, clearly, unconditionally, and the love has already been given. No one needs to be any better than he or she is, because each one is already loved completely. And the gift of life has been given freely, clearly, unconditionally, and each one has been given the gift of doing whatever they want with this life. And so, knowing that this love is here and that this love is capable of guiding each one into knowing that he or she is loved completely, just the way he or she is. This healthy awareness of how loved one is bringing to each one peace of mind, emotion, body, and circumstance. That this loving presence is letting each one know that it is love that is creating, supporting, sustaining, and maintaining each one in a wonderful way. And that each one is loved no matter what he or she thinks, believes, or has chosen. And so any self-condemnation, criticism, blame, all judgment, all need to be right, need to be perfect, need to be good, need to look good, need to prove oneself, is all by this word erased, evaporated, and vanished. The simple truth of the way life is each one is a creation of love, made out of the substance of love, and that each one is loved, lovable, and loving, and each one in a unique way has experienced some guidance as to how one may enjoy this gift of life and love it in a greater way than ever before, including a healthier body. So I'm grateful that this is the truth, and I release this word to God's law that changes the beliefs of each one to accept this truth. And so it's done, and so it is. And that's the way it is.
So it is. So it is. So it is. So it is. So it is. That's it. So it is. 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 Amen. Amen.
La-di-da-di-da. All right, there we go. So have a nice, healthy week. All right, and I think I've said hello to everybody. So I'll see you next week. Healthier than you were before, right?